Welcome to Dare to Innovate. I am here as always with Scott Gilbert. We are coming to you live from Chicago, the site of our sales kickoff, and we have a very special guest, Alistair Brooker, one of our vice presidents and general managers. And Alistair's legacy with our business is with our market data management space. So today we're going to talk about a topic we haven't discussed yet, which is specifically around market data management. And so I want to start off with you, Alistair, because we have a guest here for a reason, to provide some intelligence and some seriousness to it. And so why don't you talk to me about market data management and kind of the history behind it?
Yeah, so 27 years ago, we started off Market Data Services Limited. There was a need back then for looking after a lot of this high spend data. So a lot of these big vendors that you know out there in the space.
What are those vendors?
Bloomberg, back in the day it was Reuters, now known as Refinitiv, London Stock Exchange Group, dominating the market, and huge amount of expense that these banks, these asset management companies would need to look after. They would struggle to log in a database or cost allocate across any of these different areas, the different departments.
When you think about where does this fit in terms of a spend for a bank or a large investment firm?
That's huge. I mean, it's probably second or third on the list after sort of real estate, salary fees. So it's a real big, it was a real big challenge back then for them to allocate and manage, and it still is. It's still a big prominent thing where they need to spend time, spend effort, have a dedicated workforce to look after all of this spend, and then try to innovate, try to move forward, and try to do more with it.
But when we talk about the customers that take this service from us,
Yep.
They're spending tens of millions a year.
Hundreds of millions.
Hundreds of millions a year on these subscriptions.
Yeah.
I mean, these are, this is not a low cost item. These are big dollars.
Yeah. I mean, it's more than just the spend and management. It's all of the complexity around contracts.
Yeah.
So procurement, all of the invoices that's coming in 10,000, 15,000 invoices a year. I mean, huge amounts of work that need to be done, as well as all of the complexity of compliance management, risk. It's tricky.
So you're saying I can't just have access to all of the financial data for anyone? Like you can't just give that to me. You have to actually keep track of who sees
absolutely.
it.
I mean, it's on a per entity basis.
Yeah.
It's on a per
I mean, that's an
location
interesting
basis.
topic when we talk about, we've obviously talked about a lot of expense management, but this solution goes beyond that, and the problem that our customers have go well beyond that. So when you talk about risk and compliance, how do those play into this, and how do you think about those areas?
I mean, it's dominated our roadmap. So we mentioned the product Market Data Manager started 27 years ago. It quickly iterated with customer feedback, with industry changes, where they were calling out for help. Help us look after and manage all of this complexity around compliance and risk management. What am I licensed for, which is what you were saying. Yeah. Who can use it within the organization? Yeah. Are we in breach of any of the terms and clauses of that? It's all complicated, and there's been huge fines out there, multi-million-dollar fines in the industry. And that's obviously how all of our market data products evolved over time to help manage all of this space, manage all of this difficulty. And it's still there today. It's thriving, if anything. We're still doing more. We have this extensive roadmap of items that we want to drive forward with, answering this customer's call for help and helping them to manage this, avoid the risk and compliance, avoid these fines, and really become a great success in looking after all of this key data.
So Scott, and thank you, Alistair, for that kind of history and where that goes. With our recent announcement of evolving our brand and our logo and moving forward with Calero and revamping the brand, curious to hear your opinion as the CEO. We're dropping this 27 years of history in terms of MDSL and moving forward with Calero as a brand. Does that change our commitment to the space?
Yeah, not at all. I know, as we said, this isn't something that we've had a podcast on before. We've been talking about it, and now we happen to be in Chicago, and we can get everyone in the room. But no, absolutely not. As Alistair said, the need has not gone away. The demand has not gone away. The customers still very, very much need this, and we're well positioned to continue to invest in it. It's a huge part of our business. I think we're going to get to this a little bit later, but what's really exciting about it is what our experience, history in this area has allowed us to go do. And that's probably the more exciting piece of it.
Yeah. So when we talk about, and Scott, we'll get to your exciting news, and we'll make you wait because I know that
I'm
you
very
have
bad at it. Very
lots
bad
of
at it.
patience and the capability to do that.
Very
so
bad at it.
I'm
Yep.
sure he's going to talk over you at some point, Alistair.
So as I was saying,
But let's talk about specifically as we think about market data management and innovation. What are the things that you're seeing in the space of where it's going, and how those problems are being solved? So you think about innovation. I mean, you go back, and my limited knowledge of market data is thinking about terminals, physical machines, and then moving and evolving across the time.
Yep.
We are light years ahead of that. But where is the space going? How are we innovating the space, and how is the space innovating?
Yeah, I mean, the terminal analogy is still there. Everyone thought it would go away. It's still there. There's still huge cost, $2,000 per month per user. It's a fantastic position for Bloomberg in that respect, and others have copied it, over the years. So there's still that problem, and I call out that problem because you still need to manage that data.
Right.
And when you have joiners, leavers to your organization, people moving departments, we talked about the different entity of contractual situation earlier, and you need to manage that movement. You need to reallocate, you need to do transfers and swaps, you need to get onto portals and do that. So that's a big headache for a lot of these firms. And so what are we trying to do? We're trying to automate a lot of that connectivity. We're trying to drive that efficiency, that automation, that interactivity with these portals, because otherwise it's a time-consuming manual event, logging in, keying in. Our customers, we see it. We spend a lot of time on it, and we see them spend a lot of time on it. We do ourselves. And we want to connect with these different vendor systems. We want to drive through all of this great data that we've got in our MDM systems for these customers and push these changes through. So innovation is certainly eBonding, connectivity, tracking all of these moves, these changes. It's pulling down data, it's making sure it's in sync, and it's allowing our customers to save a huge amount of time and effort to do that.
So Scott, Alistair was talking about innovation and where we're at in the space and what the space is thirsty for. But this is not the only area we see this within in terms of the access to data, how you need to tie into multiple systems. So when you think about, Calero as an overall business, with a little bit of a flair towards market data management, but overall, these are not uncommon problems.
no, I mean, look, the reality is that both the market data industry that Alistair has spoken a lot about today, as well as the expense management, the telecom, they were born out of the same requirement, which is you had vendors, carriers, providers that were complicated to work with, whether that was placing an order, whether that was receiving services, getting the services. And so that's what this industry was born out of, is dealing with that complexity. And, we used to joke about, whether it was the Reuters or the Bloomberg, that they were years behind.
Yep.
Well, they've actually now caught up. I would love.
So hold on, is it Reuters or Reuters?
I got corrected
Alistair,
earlier.
can you please tell us the proper English? Because neither one of us are British.
Yes, I can't do
Reuters, Thomson Reuters.
Reuters.
Used to be Reuters.
Reuters. Is that too Scottish? I don't even know. All right, so Reuters, Bloom, all of those people, they're actually now ahead of the curve. Like if we could get AT&T and Verizon and those guys to catch up, we could start providing some of this same sort of automation, connectivity, but we're still getting these paper bills that are, 2 boxes big for our customers. So I think it's applicable in that the core problem is the same. The way that we believe that we need to solve it is the same, which is with technology, product, automation. We spend time saying, hey, well, this is the market data piece of our business. This is the They're the same thing.
Yeah.
They're the same thing.
I mean, these vendors, providers, they have the same issue regardless of technology and industry, in that if you are sending them something that a human has got to interpret at the other end, key it in,
Yeah.
it's going to have the same problem. It doesn't matter if it's market data or telecom. You're still going to have a bill that's incorrect. You're trying to match that up with your golden source data in your
That's right.
database. it's a nightmare.
And you need like the three magi to interpret it, because you need someone who's an amazing, like, okay, I understand this bill from this provider on this date. That's what it's going to look like. And
Exactly. Yeah.
Alistair, getting us back into something that is valuable for our audience besides us making fun of one another. As you think about the next 12, 18 months, what are the 2 to 3 things that the industry really needs to go solve?
So I would say first up, contract management. I think that's going to be a great solution that they bring forward through these provider vendors. Getting away from the paper, the PDF, it's going to be more electronic. They're going to lay out all of these key terms so that you can reduce all of that risk and compliance that we saw earlier. There's already an initiative out there in the industry that we're following with great interest. Second thing, more eBonding, more connectivity. We've seen already our great customers who have been going out to these vendor providers, helping us get introduced so that these vendor providers can come along and say, here's some great new API connectivity that you can plug into for us, and we are connected.
Can I ask you a dumb question?
Yeah.
Because I'm a dumb sales guy.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right. What is eBonding? I mean, that I have no idea what that means.
Good question.
It's like, is this some magical solution? What is eBonding?
So eBonding is preventing the need to send those manually typed out emails, over the phone conversations, that's delivering those moves, adds, changes that we talked about earlier, joiners, leavers, what do they need, what have they ordered. You are sending them concise, electronically delivered information through APIs using product coding, using unique identifiers, email addresses, that kind of thing. And that e-bonding, so the connectivity between our MDM system and the vendor provider's portal, giving that data as a straight through, is removing that manual error. It is delivering them the concise information they need it, and it's obviously securing that connection on the other side.
So could I say that in 10 words? Someone count me. This is our system talking electronically with the vendor system.
Correct. Delivering more data.
Delivering more data.
Yeah.
How many words was I?
Yeah, it was more than 10. It was more than 10.
Was I less than what Alistair said?
Alistair sounded better.
All right, you got 2. Is there a third?
So the third is working with these adjacent systems. So we see a lot of these great sort of data systems spinning up in various different industries. Again, it's not just market data specific. And a lot of our customers use this data, so data lakes, warehouses, areas where they want to put data but also process data and grab it back. And there's been some great interest in controlling the connectivity between these systems. So that has been the latest innovation that we've seen, and we think that's going to go skyrocketing in the next months, years.
Awesome. So Scott, flipping back to you to kind of close us off.
Yeah.
A lot of what Alistair said are things that we've talked about across multiple different spaces.
Sure.
And so I'd be interested to hear your perspective as to how a lot of the problems we're solving in market data apply in other spaces.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that is important, I think Calero has done a better than average job of, is recognizing that we don't need to put things in little separate containers. We don't need to think about the problems that exist in fixed wireline expense management are any different from wireless expense management, and they're not any different than market data expense. I mean, the problems, the core issues are the same. These are complicated services. They are difficult to control, difficult to measure, to visualize, to save, to all of the things that we provide. So I think we've done a good job of saying, look, we're going to take one step back, and we're going to look at the landscape, and we're going to say these are all the same sort of areas. And when you take that step back and you say, what other, I think you just mentioned the word adjacent, perfect. What other areas are having these same issues? And maybe there's not a solution in place for, maybe there's not an enterprise grade solution in place for. And so that obviously takes us to what we've been talking a lot about over the past year in these podcasts, and that's SaaS expense management. And we made that decision to say, look, we see the same problems. We see a problem with the ability to allocate costs, to understand, do I have too many licenses, too few licenses? Am I still paying for licenses for someone who left 6 months ago?
Yep.
And again, don't be intimidated by the fact that it's not a wireless, cell phone or a T1 or a PRI or a Bloomberg license.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It is the same. It's the same thing. And so, and I think where it gets really interesting is the fact that even though some would say, oh, this market's been around 27 years, it's old school. It was the information, it was the knowledge, the experience we had in the subscription management that made us be able to get into SaaS expense management as quickly as we did. It was the same thing. It's licenses.
Yep.
Instead of a terminal, it's a Salesforce seat or an Office 365 seat. But everything else is pretty much the same. Should you have Office 365? I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, Scott, Alistair, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you sitting through this gauntlet of questions and providing your insights.
He sounded so intelligent the entire time.
He did. Maybe, Scott, we can work on our accents the next time we're over in the UK.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I'm pretty sure that's not a good idea, but it doesn't mean we can't.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us for Dare to Innovate. For Alistair Brooker and Scott Gilbert, I'm so excited to be here at our Chicago Sales Kickoff. Thank you for watching and learning a little bit more about market data and our focus for the future. Thank you.
Stay on top of the conversation. Like and subscribe to our channel to get notified when our newest episodes release. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Dare to Innovate.